It was a quiet day in August 2019 when an unlikely detective, Google Earth, helped solve a decades-old mystery. A former resident of the Grand Isles neighborhood in Wellington, Florida, was scanning satellite images of his old community when something strange caught his eye. In the murky green water of a backyard pond, he noticed a faint, light-colored shape that didn't belong. Zooming in, he realized it looked eerily like a car submerged just beneath the surface. Curious and alarmed, the man reached out to a current homeowner living on that same street, Moon Bay Circle, to share what he had just discovered. That homeowner, Barry Fay, was skeptical but intrigued. Standing on the shore, there was no car visible. Just to be sure, Barry launched his personal drone and hovered over the water. On the drone's live feed, he saw it, an unmistakable outline of a white sedan sitting just beneath the surface. "Never did I believe there would be a 22-year-old dead body," he later said, stunned that something so horrific had been hiding beneath the surface for so long. Barry called the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office immediately. On the evening of August 28, 2019, deputies arrived to investigate. It didn't take long to spot the outline of the car through the water. As the dive team waded in, they found a heavily calcified white vehicle, its surface crusted with decades of sediment and mineral buildup. With great effort, the team winched the car out of the pond. As the water drained away, a grim sight emerged. Skeletal remains still strapped into the driver's seat. The vehicle was then towed to the county medical examiner's office, with the human remains still inside for analysis. For the next several days, the community buzzed with speculation. Was this a missing person, an old accident, or perhaps something darker? On September 10th, 2019, authorities confirmed the truth. The remains belonged to a man named William Earl Moult, a man who had vanished without a trace back in 1997. The most haunting detail? The car had been visible on Google Earth for years, literally hiding in plain sight. Satellite photos as far back as 2007 showed the faint outline beneath the surface, but nobody had noticed. From the ground, it was invisible. It took a digital bird's eye view to reveal what human eyes had missed for over 2 decades. So, who was William Moult, and how did his car end up at the bottom of a suburban pond? To understand, we need to go back to the night he disappeared. Picture Florida in the late 90s. William Bill Moult was a 40-year-old mortgage broker living in Lantana. Quiet, responsible, and not a heavy drinker by nature. On the evening of November 7th, 1997, he decided to go on a rare night out of the town. He stopped by a nightclub in Lantana. Some reports name it as the Forum Club. It wasn't his usual scene. He mostly kept to himself, had a few drinks, and he left around 11 p.m. About an hour and a half before he left, he called his girlfriend around 9:30 p.m., telling her that he'd be home soon. Witnesses at the club that night said he didn't appear to be intoxicated when he left, just quiet and composed. He drove off in his white 1994 Saturn SL, alone, into the darkness of that November night. He failed to return home that night. His girlfriend reported him missing the following morning. Police launched a full search, combing nearby highways, bars, and known routes between the nightclub and his home. But there was nothing. No signs of foul play, no witnesses, and no crash reports. It was as if Bill had simply driven off the map and vanished. Officers checked hospitals and impound lots, even questioned locals, but every lead evaporated. Days turned into weeks, and the trail went cold. Without tire marks, a broken fence, or even a sighting, there was no reason to suspect a crash had even happened. The case quietly slipped into the growing archives of Florida's unsolved disappearances. What no one knew at the time was Bill's final drive home had ended in tragedy. Instead of heading straight east towards Lantana, he somehow veered west, into what was then the outskirts of Wellington. In 1997, that part of Palm Beach County was a different world. The streets were few and far between. most of them little more than dirt and gravel cut through stretches of swampy fields and open construction lots. Streetlights were rare, and many new developments were still skeletal, roads paved but unmarked, cul-de-sacs ending in sand, and retention ponds dug but unfenced. Late that night, under the moonless sky, Bill must have turned down one of those unfinished roads. Without proper lighting or signage, it would have been nearly impossible to tell where the pavement ended and the water began. The area was silent, no traffic, no homes, and no one to hear a splash. His car likely slipped off the edge of an unguarded road and plunged nose first into the retention pond. Back then, Wellington was still transitioning from farmland to suburbia. The Grand Isle subdivision, where Bill's car would later be found, wasn't even finished on paper, let alone in reality. It was a maze of dirt paths, heavy machinery, and half-dug storm ponds with no barriers or warning signs. Even the local sheriff's department might not have even known the layout of those new roads. When investigators searched for Bill, the neighborhood literally didn't exist yet. It wasn't even on a county map, and there was no record showing he had any reason to drive that far west. So when the search team scoured highways and main routes, they were looking in the wrong place entirely. Out there, hidden in the dark silence of an unfinished community, his car sank and settled into the pond silt. The surface smoothed over, construction continued, and before long, houses rose up around the water. By the time anyone could have seen it, the accident site was gone, buried beneath years of progress and the illusion of normal suburbia. When authorities pulled the car from the water, the remains inside were taken to the Palm Beach County's medical examiner's office. After 2 decades submerged, only bones and fragments of clothing remained. Yet the evidence spoke clearly. Through dental records, the medical examiner confirmed the remains belonged to William Earl Molt. The examination found no signs of trauma or violence, no broken bones, no weapon injuries, no indication of foul play. The way the remains rested in the driver's seat suggested a single, tragic accident. Investigators believed Molt simply lost his bearing that night. He may have mistaken a dark road for another route home, driven straight toward the water, and been trapped before anyone could react. Witnesses from the nightclub confirmed that he hadn't appeared intoxicated, which left only one explanation: a quiet misjudgment in an unlit area, leading to an unthinkable end. Palm Beach County Sheriff's spokeswoman, Tara Barbara, later summed it up plainly. He went missing off the face of the earth, and now he's been discovered. Detectives agreed that there was no evidence of foul play. It was an accident, tragic, silent, and swallowed by time. For his family, it wasn't an ending that they had hoped for, but it was an answer. The mystery that had haunted them for 22 years was finally laid to rest. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider subscribing to Uncanny Investigations for more true stories of mystery, technology, and strange intersections between the two. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next video.